Welcome to Professional Quotient, where we have conversations that build equity. I'm your host, Jason Winningham, and today we have a special guest, Jonathan Heath. Jonathan, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I guess you're always here because we're at MarketScale.
I am always here.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do here?
I kind of oversee what happens over here on the studio side here, or the experience centers, like we like to call it. I'm the one that films and lights and kind of helps guide people in creating content over here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that something you knew you were going to do when you were a child? Or is that something that you fell into? How did you get into this?
Well, it's funny because I just unearthed just a few months ago VHS tapes that I filmed like little mini movies since I was like 5-6 years old on my grandma's camcorder. She had one, and every time I'd go over there, I'd pick it up and play with it, make little Batman movies. Or there was even one where I was like 12 and we all like got into my grandma's like moo-moos and wigs and all cross-dressed. It's like, oh wow, that was pretty progressive. So, I've always been interested in creating, like, I even remember at 5 or 6 years old wanting one of those old toy guitars. And then, in high school, I taught myself how to play guitar. So, I mean, I guess I never thought about doing it for a living, but I've always had an interest of movies and music, and movies was one of my biggest comforts as long as I can remember. I watch probably 5 movies a week,
Nice.
So
yeah. You have a favorite genre of movie?
No, I like all of it. I like all genres, new, old, I like them all. I watch a silent movie up to something that was released this week. So
I would imagine, being in production work, you would watch a movie in a different way because you're probably analyzing styles and techniques and probably so that you could adopt some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was a movie that really blew your mind?
Well, there's a director that I really admire. His name's Sean Baker, and I've been following him for a very, very long time. And a lot of people now know who he is because of a movie called Aurora.
Okay.
Won a bunch of Academy Awards this year. But Sean Baker's been making like guerrilla style filmmaking for the last decade and a half. Really, really low budget movies with like very humanistic, real people, real actors, real environments, but he just makes these really, really, really special movies. So if you've seen Aurora, great, go watch his other movies too. But he even on that movie had a bigger budget, but still pretty low budget to today's standards. And it's one of the best movies that's been made in the last few years. So when people are saying there's no good movies made anymore, go look at Sean Baker's stuff.
Yeah, just keep looking.
Yeah. There's plenty of good movies being made right now. They're harder to find because the system is not as easy for those filmmakers. Mm-hmm. So
now, did you go to school for film?
I did. I started out in the music business actually pretty early on. I worked for a couple of major labels, and then in my early 20s, and then I realized, oh wait, this is pretty toxic for creatives.
Okay.
So as a creative, I was like, I can't stay in this business, so I quit. Everybody thought I was crazy, and I went to film school in my mid-20s.
Okay.
I had a few college credits, so I was able to transfer into UNT, barely got in, and then just the last year and a half, I just focused on film, and then, yeah.
And you've been following your passion ever since.
Pretty much.
That's
stumbling
awesome.
through it ever since, yeah.
Did you have any like mentors or guides along the way?
Not really. There were a couple of teachers that I went to school with that were pretty good. They singled me out saying, you've got something. Like, you have a career in this. Like, you just... because I didn't really know what my voice was or really what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a cinematographer. And then, so they tapped and it's like, you do, they saw something in me and they kind of guided me a little bit then, but for the most part, not really.
That kind of helps by giving you a little bit of empowerment when somebody sees something in you and recognizes it. And would you say that did kind of help you get more into it then when they did?
Yeah, I mean, it helped validate that I was on the right path, because I was second guessing myself a lot, because I quit I had a pretty big opportunity in the music business, like working for Sony Music, and I walked away from it. I was like about to move to New York, and I'd been managing bands, like major acts at 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
And I walked away from it. And so it was like, I never really felt like that was a bad decision.
Sure.
But there was a part of me is like, are you crazy? Like, how crazy are you? You know?
Well, we have to do what's
So getting some
right for our
validation.
soul,
Yeah.
and if you're in a industry that you don't feel right at, that's going to eat away at
Yeah.
you, and you're not going to be able to survive for very long. You might be able to do it for a short term, but it's there's a cost to everything we do.
Absolutely.
So within the professional quotient, we like to define that as how we're able to wield and utilize our professional equity, which are all the things we've built up into ourselves, whether it's our education, our experience, our skill set, knowledge, the community of people around us. Out of all those things, what do you feel is the most valuable thing in your professional equity?
Community. I really think that for me, community is real big. I live in a neighborhood that's got a community, and I seek those out. I lived in a town called Denton, that's a little outside of Dallas. A lot of people in the Dallas DFW area know, but again, they're kind of like there's a heart to those towns, and a big creative heart, and those are the kind of places I like to kind of end up in, and because as a creative, people, places, and things will inspire you. And if you put yourself in an environment where there's other people looking for that and other people creating, only good stuff come from that. I've done so many things in this industry, and it's all been because of the people I know and the community I'm around, and I'm around a lot of people who've done some really awesome things. I'm so proud of a lot of people that I know, and I feel very grateful to know some really, really talented people who are also really great. So I don't know, I guess community, because, and I picked film because I'm very extroverted and very community oriented, like I said, and that's why I picked film, because that's basically, or video production in general, it takes a village basically to create something, and I always like that collaborative part of it. So community is probably the biggest thing for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And when it comes to your professional equity, are there things that you felt like you needed to overcome or circumnavigate an obstacle to achieve it or to grow it?
It's just hard to be a creative and make a living. It just is, and it's gotten harder. I guess that's just the biggest thing is like how do I own my own business right out of film school. I met two guys and we started our own business together. And instead of us moving to New York and LA or Austin like a lot of our buddies, we just stayed in Denton, and we stayed pretty small, but we made a living doing it. We had a pretty small life. I was making music videos for friends, making a little money. I was shooting concerts at a big venues, had a little stagehand business. But I guess it's the obstacle that I ran into is as I was shooting less and less of things that interested me. And then it took the energy away from actually creating on my own. So what happens when you use your creativity that's really was started out as a hobby, as your career, it's hard you kind of lose sight why you did it, because it becomes a grind. You got to survive on it. When you got to survive off your art, it becomes more about surviving and putting food on the table than actually creating. And so the obstacle for me is finding that balance, and I'm still struggling with that. I'm doing a lot better now, but I lost a lot of I had like a really big creative funk the last few years because the grind caught up to me.
Okay.
MarketScale's actually been really good. It's one reason why I like that. It's been really good and been sparking some of that again, and there's a really good balance here, and I feel like when I'm here, I'm getting to do some fun stuff and use that creative, but without burning me out.
Sure.
So,
talk to us more about that. What does your day-to-day kind of look like
here?
Yeah.
I mean, it varies, but for the most part, we come in, I look at the schedule, I look at who we got in the studio and what studio they chose, and I contact whoever was in charge of booking it and make sure we're in line, or usually do that the day before, and we kind of get on the same page of what this client wants. And a lot of these clients come in, I've seen and know what they want and like and what they don't like. I've been here long enough, but I'm still learning. We're getting new clients now. Now this whole side's getting bigger and better. We're getting more stuff in here, so I'm learning more about who we've got around in our community. But I mean, yeah, it just changes. Set up cameras. It's just really cool because we've got all these like mini sets. Like, oh, what am I doing today? And then when we put something in the LED wall, it's fresh every time. I got like a blank slate basically. And me and Bradley, our other part-timer, he's a really talented cinematographer. We just get to work together and kind of scheme and make something, just come up with something. So it's really cool to come in and go, they want us to put them in a warehouse somewhere and want to bring in their products. So we've got to put them in that environment. Or they want us to build a set with a brick wall in the background. So we get to build around that and start putting stuff in. So it just changes. But yeah,
So consistency is not something that you would apply, or you would not describe your job as like consistent.
No, there's some consistencies to it, I guess, is the process is consistent. How
Okay.
the mindset's consistent. All of that, the internal stuff's consistent, but the external production side of it, which is one reason why I like it. I'm not one to sit at a desk all day
Okay.
and be on Zoom calls. I would not do well. I've done a job like that very briefly, and it was not good for me.
It wasn't a good
So that's why I like MarketScale. I barely sit down. A lot of times I'm moving and grooving all day long, and that I appreciate.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So if somebody was looking in and saying, I want to do what you do, what kind of advice would you give them?
Don't get bogged down by expensive equipment. Just go get a couple of little cheap lights, get a good little camera, invest in a little tiny audio device, and just go out and shoot stuff. The best thing, the way you learn is just doing it, right? And don't worry about what everybody else is doing. There's always going to be someone better than you, but then there's going to be a million people you're better than. So just keep going. Just shoot. And I mean, really, if you want to be in this business, you got to be a people person. You got to be collaborative. If you're a lone wolf, you be a photographer or maybe a documentarian. But if you want to do what I do, you need to be good with people, genuinely be good with people, and want to collaborate, So
how would somebody develop being a good people person?
I mean, that's tough.
That may be something we're just born at. I just thought I'd ask.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, some of us are extroverted. Some of us are just naturally introverted. I'm fortunate enough to be one of those extroverted people. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but no, I think that just being an extrovert, it's just like, it's constantly, working with outside your comfort zone. Like if most people who are extroverted, and I think most people in my business are, we constantly are putting ourselves in front of new people, new conversations, new environments. Those excite extroverted people. Introverted people kind of shy away from that. So if you're an introverted person who wants to be in this business, just start going to places by yourself. Maybe start small, like go to a dive bar by yourself, strike up a conversation. Go find places, like if you want to go find where all these creatives hanging out and get to meet them and just hang out with them, make friends with them, get in those groups. Once you get in those groups and you see those dynamics, you can kind of learn, and then you can kind of branch out, and then you make those connections at the same time. And then anybody that's successful in my business have just met the right community and just kind of worked within that community.
That's some solid advice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And finally, I just wanted to ask, is there anything else you'd like to give a spotlight to or shine a light on?
Take care of your creatives out there. Creatives make the world colorful. Without creatives, the world's gray. The buildings we look at aren't pretty. Photos are boring. There's no movies. There's no paintings. Anything that you look at that you're like, that's cool, that's interesting, and all your hobbies, someone creative came up with that. Remember it, because creatives right now are suffering everywhere. The film industries, art musicians, big musicians can't even afford a living. Most of the people you probably have 1 billion streams on Spotify have a second job somewhere.
Wow.
And filmmakers, the way there's more opportunity to get your stuff out there, but none of them are making money, and their content is heavily scrutinized, and it's harder to make what you want to make. So just take care of your creatives out there, respect it. I mean, there's in the world with AI coming along and people being able to create just by prompting a computer, I don't know, we lose something if there's not a human touch element to it. So I don't know, just next time you're looking at something pretty, think about who created that. And if something strikes you or makes you, impacts you in any way, just think about somebody created that to give you that emotion. And that's pretty powerful. So,
I think you're right on, Jonathan. Thank you for sharing that. And to our audience, if you've enjoyed this conversation, please like, subscribe, and leave a positive review. And remember, unlike our IQ or our EQ, we can easily raise our PQ. Just keep learning, growing, and connecting. Until next time.